Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast. We are going to be talking today about something that everybody has to do to have a successful Amazon listing nowadays, and that is building authority. So we're going to be talking about building authority on Amazon, building authority off Amazon, and how to do it. So stay tuned. This is the Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast.
Lunch with Norm, lunch with Norm, lunch with Norm, lunch with Norm.
Okay, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about authority today. Everything from building it on Amazon, building it on Google, just building authority in general. Today, our guest is co-owner, and I don't know, I guess I could call him a friend, and PR digital expert, Shane Oglow. So Shane and I have known each other for quite some time. We met at an event. So like I mentioned, probably 90% of the time, the people that come onto this podcast are people that I met at an event. He started back in 2013 and had a very, very successful Amazon career. He had well over $1 million in revenue his very first year. And then he went on to train thousands of people. And then we joined forces to start PR Reach. And here's a little tip for you. There's a new website coming out called Netfluence. So stay tuned and we'll touch base on that another time. So, but before we go to that, let's have a word from our sponsor. The Legion is your go-to community where you can learn, grow, and build your Amazon and e-commerce business. As you know, being an entrepreneur can be lonely. Now you can share struggles, build a network, and celebrate your successes. And guess what? Our community is free. All you have to do is head over to our Facebook group to join. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel at Private Label Legion so you can stay up to date with tips, strategies, and advice from other experts in the industry. Okay, remember one thing. To get all this great information, follow us, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can get automatic notifications. Okay, where is the Squire?
Hello, how are you doing?
I am doing fine. I am just wondering, is that your mic going high or are you okay? Talk to me. Talk to me, Kelsey.
Test. How
okay, it sounds okay. All right. I just guess I was excited that you came on to say hi to me.
All right. Well, hello.
Yeah, you haven't seen me in a little while. So
I know it's been too long.
Yeah. So what are we supposed to do?
All right. So, of course, as usual, smash those like buttons. Give us a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you know anyone who's interested in building their authority online through Amazon or off, tag them in the comment sections. This is a pre-recorded episode, just to not confuse everyone watching. So if you post comments right now, we won't be able to see it live, but we will be going back and checking out the comments, and if there's any questions, that will be good. We do have a Wheel of Kelsey happening, so that is as usual, so make sure you stick around for that. And yeah, I think that's about it. Join our Facebook group, the Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA and e-commerce collective, and I hope you enjoyed today's show.
Okay, that was, I don't know what got into you. I guess you like these pre-recordings because you keep it nice and simple and quick.
And just wrap it up with a little bow.
Oh, isn't that special? Okay, if you have any comments or questions, like Kelsey said, we won't get to them today. However, we've been doing this with some other pre-recorded podcasts, and it's gone quite well. We've been able to answer everything. We've got a lot of engagement going, so please engage. And if we don't get to it right away, we will get to it for sure. Once, if we're having a pre-record, usually it's because I'm traveling. So I'll see all the questions and we'll make sure that they get answered, or some experts in our group will answer them. Okay, so like I said, today our special guest is my buddy Shane Oglow. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, enjoy the show. Welcome, Mr. O.
Thank you very much. Good to see you again.
I hear like a snowmobile or something.
So look, right now there's a classic car rally here in Andorra, and all day there's like all these old Ferraris and Mercedes and Porsche and BMWs, like stuff from the 50s and 60s, the new stuff as well. And I think they're just moving from a parking lot nearby into the capital city of Andorra. So I think that
Can you say that again?
they're moving into the capital.
What's the name of the capital? You said it's sexy.
Oh, sorry, Andorra.
Oh, very good. There you go.
Yeah, it is pretty sexy if you think about it. But yeah, so it's been great to see all these really cool cars hanging out today. In fact, they're all going to be downtown tomorrow, and we're probably going to go check it out with the family and see all the cool cars.
Cool. I'm going to be a stone's throw away from you on the weekend.
I know, and you're not coming to visit. It's yeah.
I'm sorry.
There's no words actually.
So, like we said earlier on, we met at an amazing event. Anyways, we've been talking ever since, and we became partners about 2 years ago with PR Reach, and now and timely for this podcast is that we've always talked about authority. We've always told people, not only Amazon sellers, but anybody has to become authority. Authority equals trust. Trust equals sales, no matter what business that you're in. Mm-hmm. We've recently set up a new company called Netfluence, and that's also going to be about building authority. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. But anyways, the importance of authority, even on Amazon, like, I don't know about your experience, but when you go on, you can see really inexperienced sellers or sellers just that don't know what they're doing. And you can see this on Walmart listings. You can see it on e-commerce listings. But once you take a look at a crappy listing like that, there is no authority, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's very true. And I think too, back in the day when we first started all those years ago, it was the Wild West, and you saw all kinds of garbage listings ranking number one. And you knew that would change over time, and it has. I mean, every now and then you'll see one pop up, sure. But you got to kind of treat it like, besides the listing and all those things we can get into, having it look very professional and all the language and the bullet points, the pictures, and all those things you can do, you got to, it's like advertising. You just got to be seen everywhere. You got to be popping up all over the place. And that's what registers with people over time, especially if they come from somewhere. Let's say they're searching on, their search engine or Google. And then they land on Amazon. They see the same place. Oh, okay, the same company. It's just a lot of authority, a lot of trust. They're reading about you. They're seeing you everywhere. It's just those touch points, constant touch points, constant. And when they at your listing, they see the complete listing. They see the questions and answers. It's like, you guys got it covered. I mean, why wouldn't they buy from you at that point, right?
Yeah, and you know where I find the old 2013-14 Amazon is in Walmart. If you go over there right now and you start looking at some of the listings, there are so many crap listings over there, like one image. I don't know who wrote the copy, or they don't understand the platform, just like people might not understand the Amazon platform, but terrible listings. And I don't know about you, but I would think the majority of people that go and buy a product on Amazon, what are they going to do? They're going to see that you're a micro brand. That's all we are micro brands. There are very, very few Amazon sellers. And I'm talking about the top 1% of 1% probably that could actually say that they're a brand, a household name. So anyways, and maybe that's a little bit too tight, but I would say at least 1% for sure. You probably could consider that. And that's why we have to, make sure that we're everywhere. Like you said, that when somebody goes to Amazon, what are their habits? They're going to see that you're a micro brand. They don't know who the heck you are. They're going to find you on Google. They're going to check out your social media. They're going to check out your website. And if any of those, they're going to look for any reason to click off because all of a sudden the red flags and their spidey senses go off. So that's why it's so important. And I still think to this day, we've been preaching this for years. Even before we got together, we've been preaching this. And, very few people really take action.
Yeah, and the funny thing is back in those days, consumers just weren't as conditioned either. You could throw up a garbage listing with one or two crappy images, and it'd still get sales. But we'd kind of complain to each other and say, oh, isn't it obvious this is garbage? Well, a lot of consumers were new to e-com,
Yeah.
6, 7, 8 years ago. But now they've all been conditioned. They know what a good listing. They might not know the first thing about Amazon or the back end or sellers issues, but they know a good listing when they see one. So I think that's part of the reason too why a lot of those listings just kind of went away as they should have or were improved. Whatever happened. Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, if you think back, I don't know if it was ASM. So ASM was the Amazing Selling Machine, known today as Amazing.com. But ASM 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, they realized it. They realized it back then. And if you remember, they used to have promotion, like you would go into the into the back end, and you would submit a press release or submit something to help build your authority on Google. So even back then, they knew it was important, and still a lot of people didn't do it.
Yeah, and
I just think it's kind of interesting that. And I didn't even, as you were talking, I only thought about that. But yeah, you'd be able to go and you'd be able to invite people to help boost the rating up. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Like you said, the wild wild west.
Yeah, completely. I think they were really ahead of their time at the time. That was before any tools existed or
there's nothing.
Service-based business. There's literally nothing. I remember I went to my first event. It was in Texas, and I met a couple of guys who I've remained very good friends with over the years in the airport, and they had been selling for 6 months. It was like, oh my gosh, I gotta pump them for information because there's nothing. There's literally nothing at the time. But I forgot that Amazing had that press release tool, and they had those booster tools and all kinds of things. And yeah, you're right. It just goes to show, those external signals were even happening then. You want to show up all over the place. You want to just do more than your competitors. But like you said, most people didn't bother. And I just sort of chalk that up to laziness.
But this is old school marketing. I mean, this is, when you think about content, what's Google based on? Knowledge and education. So, and even to this day, the most weighted side of Google that'll get you ranked is content. Look at what Gary Vee says. It's content, right? So if you look back, even I can go back 20 years when I was providing just some services, not so much products. And then these, I believe it was the two Jasons back in the day where PR Kaboom came out. Do you remember that app?
No, I've been told about it, but I was not privy to it when it came out back in the day.
So this is where you could make a ton of money by promoting and building up authority for service and products. So all I'm doing is just letting people know that, I mean, this isn't anything new. It might be repackaged, a little bit shinier. It might be polished, but it's the same thing. People want to make sure that they're getting the goods that they see, that they're not being oversold on something. And let's talk about the first thing, and that's your Amazon listing. Right off the bat, when you're looking at Amazon or Walmart, two platforms, what are some things and why is it so important to make your Amazon listing perfect? Sorry, you're muted.
Sorry, yeah, no, cars are going by. I don't want to be quiet. So, the funny thing is everybody's attention span is so short. Everybody expects, like when you go to a website, it takes 3 seconds to load. You're like, yep, I'm out of here. Same thing with Amazon. You want to grab them with that first image. So when they're scrolling through all the stuff, they click on yours, and right away you want to suck them in and never let them go. And that's why the images are so important. The rest is very important too, if people spend the time to go through it, but most do. Some do. And I've always been a firm believer that your images should tell everything. They don't even need to look at your bullet points. They don't need to look at your A+ page. Nothing. They should see everything in the images, infographics, explain everything from your bullet points should be in your images. So that's all they need. And if that explains it, if that handles it, you're golden. I think that makes such a big difference in listings. But for the odd person that actually goes beyond that and actually reads bullet points, well, don't keyword stuff them, have them solid, solve problems, benefits versus features, all that good stuff to keep them reading, keep them in, solve their problems. Say, oh yeah, okay, I've got that issue, or this is going to help me do this or that. Wonderful. Then when you get down into the details lower on the page, that's when you can start to go through your features, because usually we're starting to get a bit more deep. People are already sucked in. They're saying, well, does it have 12 volt? Well, okay, let's give them all those details that, for the nerd side or for the people who really want to go in deep. That's the way I usually structure it too. On the top, it's all very visual, very easy, very benefit oriented. And then as you get down, you can go deeper into the details for the people who want to go that low.
Yeah. And especially on the Walmart side. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. We've been kind of playing around with Walmart quite a bit this year. And if somebody gets over to your listing, and if you don't dominate, if you don't have the best quality listing, they've done something really smart. Right underneath there, you've got all your competitors. And it's a one-click add to cart. Like you just add and buy. It's not that you go over to their product listing. You're adding it to your cart, which really sucks. So if you don't have that really great image, then you've got a problem. And now this isn't just listing optimization. I want to go back, and Amazon is asking for this. They're going back and they're saying, we want to build a community around a brand. And if you take a look about your listing, so, okay, you've got a nice image, you got a title, you got your bullet points, you've got your store. So I would spend money on store. I would spend money on your A+ pages. I would make sure that you check out and you just don't take the first A+ page that you see. Make sure that you might do one with the carousel at the top, or if it's the big image, you got to make sure it suits your brand. And also, brand story is now like whenever, and depending on when this airs, but they recently, within the last few months, allowed you to bring in brand story as part of your A+ page. And that's important. I like Jeff Sass. He's an incredible marketer. He came on and he was talking about, like, just don't over exaggerate. Like, don't tell people that you climb Mount Everest to go and find this Himalayan salt and blah, 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 blah. Like, tell an engaging story that's not far-fetched. It could be a little stretch, but just a little stretch. But again, it makes it engaging. So I don't know if there's anything there that you like. I've got a few things about Amazon, like building Amazon community to build authority, but go ahead if you got anything to add.
Yeah, I was just going to say the other thing too is video. That's I think so big. Important. Yeah, and there's a few ways you can use video on Amazon, but certainly in your picture deck, putting a video there is just. And here's the thing: is sometimes I'll be looking for a product, and I'll be like, okay, that looks okay, that's okay. Oh, they've got video, great. You click on it, and it's a lame video. That just circles around the product or something. I mean, okay, I guess that's cool, but why don't you actually inform me and sell me on something with the video versus just paying some guy off Fiverr to, do some 3D thing? Make it informative, make it useful for people.
And I get this, people ask me a lot. They ask me, where I go for product photography, and Kelsey, we named about 4 or 5 different places that we use, and you might be able to add it to the show notes. But as for videos, so you can get the professionally produced videos, and you can get those videos from like Video Telepathy. They do a good job. They cost a bit of money, but they do a great job. AMZ One Step, happy with their videos. Again, you pay a little bit of money. It's a little, they're good. They're good quality. But when you're talking to a product photographer, ask them if they can provide a video. ask them if they can provide models, whatever it takes, and see what the cost is. But you can also do pretty good videos from like Animoto. Very inexpensive. Prior to coming on to the podcast today, I checked out a site that you told me about, and we no affiliates here. I just checked it out. I haven't even used them, but very inexpensive, and they look pretty good. What was like Bigelow or what was it?
No, it's Billow, Billo .app. So yeah, and in fact, I'm going to do an intro after, and maybe we can have one of the folks from their show come on, because I think you'd be really interested in the process. They've really dialed it in and made it easy for e-commerce sellers to get videos at scale.
Yeah, so you don't have to spend huge money. Depending on my product, depending on my budget, it depends on the production quality. You know, it really does depend on how much I'm willing to spend. You know, what is my return going to be? But a lot of your categories, if you go into, okay, I'll give you a great example. If I go into chef knives, into Damascus steel, Dahlstrom has incredible, beautifully high-end, probably cost huge bucks, right? If I saw that as one of the like the quality of the videos that are coming out of my category, I would not go to a very inexpensive video production company, because I think you'd be wasting your money unless you just want to throw it up on your listing. But if you're using it for any type of PPC or anything like that, you're wasting your money. And this is just my opinion. If you're doing something else, like maybe there's a bully stick, or maybe there's, I don't know, HDMI cables, and you take a look and they're lower quality, you might be able to get away. Like I know even here in the other room, I've got a photo studio set up with a tent, lights, a round table, and I could just put my product in there. It spins around, and you know, that's it. I also do some product photography out of there, but like I also went to school for photography, but I wouldn't like tell everybody just to go and take your iPhone and do it. Again, it comes down to the quality of your competitors. If their iPhone, like if they're taking, you know, crappy iPhone pictures, I might step up and just use my light tent. If they're maybe light tent or, you know, better, I always try to outdo my competition. You know, because especially going back to Walmart, you'll just lose it. Now, another thing that's going to show you as an authority is, and I've always preached Amazon posts, and I think they bring you a captivated audience. I think they improve your conversion rate. It's hard to tell because they don't have the actual reports that show that. They show your click-through summary, but they don't show the sale yet. And also Amazon Live. So have you ever gone live?
You know, I think I did years ago, because I was invited to the beta when Amazon Live had that, maybe in 2015 or somewhere way back then. So we did do a little bit back then. It wasn't me. It was one of our employees at the time. And it didn't have a big impact back then, because it was still brand new and nobody knew what the heck it was. But boy, do I see it a lot lately.
Yeah.
You know, some companies are really getting into it and promoting. And, you know, I heard I'm trying to remember who I heard it from, but they were saying that for them, now this isn't for everyone, every brand's different, but they were saying that they were getting more bang for their buck from Amazon Live than they were from TikTok videos. So they were starting to switch their efforts. They were doing everything on TikTok because they had some go viral, and it was, you know, it wasn't constant, but it was enough that they kept doing it. They were starting to switch their attention from TikTok to Amazon Live. So I think we're going to see an increasing amount of use in that space, and a lot of influencers just keep flocking there and more users. I think it's become an entity on its own, more so than it is now.
Right. And it's easy to do. And I mean, you don't have to do it yourself. You can also work with influencers. You can get them to live stream, and it's so easy to go in. They actually have the categories broken down. You can see the influencer that you want. You can click on it, and there you go. It's not hard to do at all, and they make it easy because they know that this is what's converting. And as you're building this up, just one sec there, Shane. As you're building this up, you're building followers. Well, what is that going to do? So when you're building followers, and for anybody who's new, there's a program called customer engagement. So that's found under your brand analytics section or your brands tab. And when you go down there, you can create to your repeat customers or anybody who follows special promotions, or if you're launching a product. First question I get whenever I walk into an event, where do you get reviews from? How do you get reviews? You know, well, there's a few ways that you can do it white hat, you know, and it's very easy, you know, and this is one of them. Followers are, targeting your followers, creating those promos that, you know, get those people to buy your new product, or even Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day. You just do promotions through a community who likes your information, your brand, through posts, through your store, through live. It's not that tough.
You know, another thing I was thinking about too is, and I think I had this conversation with Rob Burns over at Video Telepathy maybe 6 months back or something, but I know there's other companies doing it too, where they're positioning themselves for Amazon Live. So yes, you can go out and you can get an influencer and they can do stuff. And okay, that's wonderful. But you've got people who are out there setting up studios. So they've got several studios set up. So one is like a beautiful, fully decked out kitchen. And you can use that kitchen. You can have, you know, get your spokesperson, your person in there and do whatever, you know, cooking, doing. So you kind of like hosting your own professional TV show in your own little studio. And, there's a couch area for people who just want to have a casual thing sitting on a couch. There's whatever. They've got all these different sort of scenarios set up. That's pretty cool stuff, you know, for sellers to have access to nowadays. It certainly wasn't around a few years ago.
Yeah, it's constantly evolving. So again, the reason for Amazon and doing all this and spending that much time is really to just look like it's real, like that you're the real McCoy, that you have that authority. But the second part is just as important, and that's your off Amazon side of things. So now, okay, people see all this, they start following you, you look legit. Then they click and they go to Google. And this is where a lot of newer sellers, even well-established sellers, fall apart because they don't think that's important. And maybe a couple of years ago, it wasn't. But today, it's crazy important that you start to look as you do on Amazon.
Yeah. And I think, we could talk for hours on this, but, you know, in a way, a lot of people have Amazon fatigue. A lot of customers have Amazon fatigue. Now, this is just one small component, but a lot of people are used to, or they've read things that they don't believe reviews on Amazon. They don't believe the questions and answers are real. Okay, that's fine. Fair enough, you know. So they're going to look elsewhere, or they start their search elsewhere, especially if you've got a niche product, super niche product, complicated, expensive. It goes in your body. It goes on your body. Things that people are Google searching first. That's very, very important to have that off Amazon presence. Maybe they fully intend to buy it on Walmart or Amazon or wherever. That's fine. But they're going to start the search on Google and gather that information. And that's where you need to position yourself as the authority. You need to establish trust that you know what you're doing. You need to give lots of content. You need to answer questions. You need to be helpful. You need to be teaching all those things that Google wants you to do. They're like, oh, you know what? Oh, there's a direct Amazon URL where they see a great piece of content with 5 tips or maybe a little mini book you wrote. Or who knows? There's so many ways to do it, but you're giving them something. You're giving that valuable that trust and that authority, boom, they're over on Amazon and they're going to buy it from you.
Yeah, that's a good point when you talked about a book, because let's see, it was Wilfred Lightheart that, was telling me, he says, you want to become authority? Write a book. And instant authority, whether you're an authority on it or not, just because you have a book and you're published, you're all of a sudden, you have all this credibility. So if you do have a great product, let's go back to the knife. Well, maybe you create a interesting cookbook or a book of, the great chefs around Europe or something like that. That is definitely a way to build up authority. Another one, we talk about it a lot, is finding the right influencers. And so, you mentioned TikTok before. We have a friend, Lazar, out there who's got a great TikTok agency. And that's what he does. He matches you and he promotes, your brand. Because if you don't have the right influence, if I'm trying to sell beauty products to, a guy with a beard, and I'm talking female, beauty products and not beard oils, it probably wouldn't be the right fit. If it's an aggressive personality compared to your brand's personality, not the right fit. So you've got to find the right people to do it. You've got to find the right audience. And I don't know how you feel about, macro, micro, nano influencers, but I know the market I would go after. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to, like eating an elephant, right? One bite at a time. And I think it's
I've never ate elephant.
You should. It's delicious. You got to start small, and micro influencers are easier. They're cheaper, and they have a higher engagement rate. Usually, they have a more captivated audience. You can find someone out there who's got millions and millions of people. There might be lots of fake followers in there. They might just be kind of half, that's interesting. Someone follows them, but they're not really following them, not hanging off every word. Now, of course, some macro influencers, people do hang off their every word. But, when you start with those smaller audiences, that's how you start to build a base. And if you have places for them to go, they can, you direct them over to Amazon Lives or just subscribe or other social media or joining your newsletter or your, deal of the month club off your Shopify. So whatever, you're pulling them into your world and you're constantly giving them stuff. That's the way to go. And one last thing I'll mention too, and I wanted to mention earlier, is don't forget, I mean, the numbers change, but let's just say somewhere between 25 and 30 something % of all traffic on Amazon is coming from search engines like Google and DuckDuckGo and Yahoo or whatever. So that's a big piece of the pie. If people who are only focusing on Amazon, could you imagine if you're just competing with someone on Amazon and you had a 25% advantage against the other person? I mean, there's a lot of traffic. And not only is there a lot of traffic coming from search engines, they push up your organic rankings more than anything else. Amazon rewards that outside traffic more than PPC. It's still, that changed a couple of years ago, and as far as I know, that's still there. So it's a really nice element to add in. I wouldn't say necessarily focus everything on it. One other caveat I'll say about that is sometimes people will talk to me about getting outside traffic or saying should I rank on Google, or I'm thinking of starting a Shopify store in the next 6 months. Well, first of all, if you're on Shopify, that's your lifeblood. You're responsible for your own traffic. You got to do it. Like, you've got to be ranking on Google, otherwise you're not going to get anything. So it's there's no delicate way to say this, but the other thing is if you've got a really boring product. Now, I don't mean boring in a mean way, because let's say I sell a really boring product, but man, that thing makes me $1 million a year. Well, for me, it's not very boring. It's an awesome product. But if it's not something people are Google searching for, it's something that, hey, I'm just going to go straight to Walmart or straight to Amazon and buy the darn thing, like a knife and, like a cutlery set or clothespins or something that really isn't going to involve in your research, it's negligible. At some point when you're making a lot of money, sure, start to build up that presence off Amazon. But again, if you've got something that is really niche driven, really expensive or complicated or a lot of variables or again, it's going to go in and on your body for your pet. People are so crazy about their pets, for your baby, right? These are things that people are Google searching first. And those products are the ones that will do the best. And those are the ones, if you're selling that product, I would recommend you make that transition to getting some Google traffic before the people who are just, quote unquote boring product sellers. I hope that made sense. I got a little bit
Yeah, it definitely did. So just wanted to have a second to go over a giveaway today. So first of all, we are going to be giving a giveaway. And if you're interested in this, the old time community knows it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you'll get an extra entry. If you're new to this, every single podcast, we provide some sort of giveaway to the listeners. So it's all you have to do is just hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, and you'll get a second chance to win. And Shane, why don't we just talk a little bit about what the giveaway today is going to be?
Sure. Well, I thought that I want to make something really useful. It wasn't just kind of fluff or, oh yeah, I guess that's okay. If someone's really serious about building that offline presence, the first place we start at with Netfluence is we got to go out there and we have to do a bit of competitor research. We have to do that keyword research. So I'm not talking about Amazon keyword research. I'm talking about Google keyword research. So I think I'd like to give that away, where we'll do that research that we do for all the products we put through our system. We'll do that research which will give you a good idea of the competitiveness of the keywords and where you should be starting if you want to start getting Google exposure for those terms.
Okay, that's fantastic. So that's like well, Kelsey's got it right here, a keyword research consult, and then you'll provide them with the information. All right, that's fantastic. Thank you, sir. I think at this point there is a sponsor, right, Kels? A big thank you to our sponsor, Startup Club, the largest club on Clubhouse with over 790,000 members and growing. They're one of the world's largest communities supporting the startup ecosystem, from founders to those wishing to work for a startup and everything in between. You can find them at www.startup.club for blogs, recordings, and a calendar of upcoming shows, and on the Clubhouse app. Just search Startup Club for daily shows 24/7. You can also now listen to their show, the Serial Entrepreneur Club podcast, on Apple and Spotify too. Stop by to connect, learn, and grow together. This weekend, or during the week, I was out in St. Louis and I was meeting with an old buddy of ours who I haven't seen in a long time, Mike McClary.
Nice.
When I started talking about this, it comes back to, I think he spoke about it at a few conferences, but he talked about a traffic blitz. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about, not just hitting Amazon listings with PPC, but he was talking about everything. And it was funny because we were talking about this, not this episode, but we were just talking about, is anybody doing that? Like when you were talking, you ever feel like you were just wasting your breath? Mm-hmm. Just go to Facebook, hit the coupon, see what would happen. The reason I'm saying this, I feel like this with press releases. I've always done press releases. I've done them, once or twice during I usually would do them about 4 times during the first 2 weeks of a product launch. I've done them 20 days in a row during a product launch, but I used press releases. And there's different types of press releases, and we talk about those different types on another, on our an older podcast. But you would mix it up from a very inexpensive to a very expensive press release to give you authority. We would tell, and we've talked to thousands and thousands and thousands of people about that, and I bet you not 0.5% are doing it. And when we do talk about it and we hear like, I'll go to a conference, oh, it didn't work. Okay, first of all, what did you do? What type of press release did you use? And how many did you put out? Typically they got the cheapest one that was available. So it was just an online press release, went out to some junk links or junk media outlets, and it didn't work because they only did it once. And they thought their expectations were that they were going to be ranked for every bloody keyword out there with one press release, one garbage press release. And it doesn't work that way. But using press releases the right way is probably one of the easiest ways to gain authority. And that's why we got together, we started looking at press releases. You had experience with it. I've had experience. And then we tried to convince sellers that it works.
Yeah. It's funny because there's people out there in the world, and we know a lot of them that are they do press releases constantly, like weekly for years and years, and they'll never, ever, ever give it up. They're like, yeah. But Amazon, and part of our issue is that we're dealing with a lot of Amazon sellers, a lot of experienced Amazon sellers, and they're very myopic. They're like, oh, if I put out a press release tomorrow, my sales should double, right? No, that's not how it works. Now, there's different functions for press releases. We've used them in such a manner where it helps raise the keyword ranking of certain terms. That's a different thing versus doing press releases to build authority, trust, and yes, it will eventually translate into more traffic and sales. But that's for people who are building brands. Most people, especially back in the day, and I'd say most newer sellers don't have that long-term vision. They're not thinking, oh, where am I going to be in 5 years? How do I get there? How do I turn this into a $100 million company, or whatever the goal happens to be? They don't have that. They're just thinking, what can I spend $1 on today to try and get $1.25 back tomorrow? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of the thing. But you've got to divest. You have to start to think about that trust and authority. If you're only playing the Amazon game, you will live and die on that sword. And it's nothing saying you can't do well. But I like the idea of spreading my assets out. And I love the idea of companies that build their offline presence, their off Amazon presence. Maybe they start Shopify. You know what? When you start Shopify, don't expect much to happen unless you've got your traffic dialed in. But don't get discouraged either. It builds trust, it builds authority. Sometimes people will Google brands all the time they see on Amazon. Who are these guys? Yep. Oh, there's a press release. Oh, there's some article. They've got an active social media. They got a website with some blogs. Okay, these guys are legit. No problem. And that helps. It's hard to measure that, though. It's like you take out an ad for a billboard that sits there for 30 days on the I-90. Well, what's your ROI from that? You have no bloody idea. So do you cancel it and say, oh, that didn't work? Well, of course not. It's building that awareness, that trust, and that authority, and those touch points that people see. If you're everywhere, you will build trust, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Even on your website. So if you go back, let's say you're building up either WordPress or Shopify or whatever platform. What about adding some testimonials? Some video testimonials, like when you send out, your thank you message, send out a link. And I'm talking about off of Shopify, right? You're not allowed to do that with your Amazon, but you've got people that have bought your product. They like your product. Give us a video testimonial. And if you give them the link, it makes it really, really easy for them to do. So anyways, I think that's one area that people on a website forget about. The second area that we talk about is your media kit or your press room or in the news tab. Yeah. And you can simply just put all your press releases, because if you don't understand a press release, the press release will be published on a site like XYZ, PR Reach site. And you can go and you can take that and you can put it onto your website. But it also goes out to 200, 300, 400 different media outlet sites or content providers. But you can't put that on there. You just put it on once. Somebody comes over. Well, if you've been shown in the news, plus it's published on Google, in Google News, for example, you're going to be shown as the authority. The next thing that you do is put a blog. Like, have a blog article, high quality blog article. I'll also go a little bit further, and just, if you do not have a contact us or an email, or even I'll go as far as to say a phone number. We have phone numbers, we have virtual phone numbers, and it never gets used. It's just saying that I've got a phone number, I'm real. The phone number is the area code or where I say my business is in. And those all start to build up for authority. The next thing, I'm going to come back to the content side in a second, but another area for this is Google Business Profile. Now, we found out, well, I've always used Google My Business. Now it's changed to Google Business Profile as soon as it came out years and years and years ago for different brands that I had. But it's completely changed now. And anything that you publish, if it's an image or if it's any form of content, it gets promoted on Google. So all of a sudden you're ranking on Google, and you get ranked for keywords you didn't even think you'd be ranking for.
And it happens quickly too, which is the really nice thing with it. Yeah. Just going back to the video testimonials, it reminded me of a really funny story. Not a funny story, but a funny thing that happened maybe 2 weeks ago. I was looking, I think it was some type of a software or a service. I was looking at it, I thought, there's something not quite right here. It's kind of interesting, but I didn't have a lot of trust. Oh, here's some video testimonials. Cool. Every single one was the most obvious, fake, scripted video testimony I've ever seen. I'm like, okay, that turned me right off, and I'm gone. Yeah. So if you're going to do it, use real ones. Don't try and pull wool over everyone's eyes. You're not going to fool many people.
You know who does a great job with this is video telepathy. Rob Burns has got a service called Marketplace Reviews. So it's not, these aren't already your customers. He'll go out, he'll set up somewhere. He'll have about 5 to 10 questions that he'll ask. And somebody comes up, let's say it's not a bar of soap, but whatever it is, something that you can use right away. And you could give a beauty product like that. You could give an eye cream or Snow, for example, the lip gloss. They can give you your reactions right away. So number one, you get their immediate reaction. Number two, you get the questions answered. Then they're edited, and then you can use them as testimonials, or you can cut them in with a product video, and it's very, very effective. But you want authority. If somebody sees how your reaction is, or what your reaction is to using the product for the first time, that can be very powerful. And you can use all of those videos on social media.
Geez, we should get some kind of kickback from Rob. We've talked about.
We got to talk to him about tonight. That. Yeah. He'll like that.
Yeah.
But now the final thing I wanted to talk about was this is your brainchild. And I want to talk because something happened with this that even to this day for me is unbelievable. And this is a service, but then we'll get into a product. And this is something that you name Brand Builder. So again, for authority reasons, you created this package.
Yeah. And, the results that I'm going to talk about today happened over the last couple of years. And we've since learned a lot, and we've really changed it. Not changed, improved it, added a lot to it, added a lot more content to it, because that's what Google wants. But we had George Marisa, who's a very good friend of ours. His company's Clear Ads. He has an Amazon DSP agency, and he has his own SEO team, and they do a fantastic job. And he tried Brand Builder, and we were able to get him. Here's a ranking, on page 5, 3, 7, 9, wherever, for different keywords, and we got him from one particular, I think it was advertising on Amazon, from position 27 to position 7 in 30 days. He couldn't believe it. He sent me the screenshots like, oh my God, this is so awesome. I'm talking to the team. And we did the same with some other terms as well. I mean, I don't know if you want me to get into the whole story of what happened to him, Norm. Do you?
Well, I like the part that at one point we knocked Amazon out of first place, and we knocked Amazon down to third place for another keyword.
Yeah, I think advertising on Amazon. I think Amazon DSP was the second one, if I'm not mistaken. And he actually got a phone call from Amazon, an angry phone call, saying, "Oh, you're in violation of your agreement," and all this. And he kind of freaked out, and he called us in a panic, and he didn't know, and we didn't know, and so we're taking down all his content, which takes a while. We're scrambling, and then he gets another phone call. There's still one piece of content that was still up. We're still working on it. And the guy said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about, what you've published." He said, I know. Look, I'm sorry. That last piece will be down really quick. He said, no, don't worry about that. He goes, "Look, if you sign down below, you become a partner. Your partner, you're compliant. So just sign." And he's like, "What?" It's like, the heavens opened up and the light shone down, and he became a partner that way. And further to that, I mean, I don't know the exact details, but they asked him to do partner up on doing some with their R&D department. So he got really heavily integrated into Amazon, but it's because he got that exposure. He's showing up on page one. We had showing up on Google News. We had press releases showing up. We had some content. We were able to push up some really great blog articles, and that's what did it. It's that exposure. And I couldn't be happier. George is such a fantastic human being, and he's got a great agency, and he deserves every bit that he got. And this works really well for service-based businesses. And actually, I had a really good call the other day with someone who's based in the Middle East, and she has a business that helps Amazon sellers. And this is like a dream. If you're regionally based, you're just focusing on businesses in a region. Oh my gosh, it's so much easier for us because we've got those keyword qualifiers in there that we can push you up so much easier. But for service-based businesses, it works like a dream. But it also works really well for physical products businesses. Now, I'm going to go back to that caveat before, where if you've got a boring product, and no offense meant for people who have boring products that kick butt. But when I mean boring, I just mean it's probably not going to be searched on Google before they make the purchase decision. If I'm going to buy a pack of batteries or something, I'm just going to go and buy the damn batteries. I'm not going to research, which battery is going to make my remote control car go longer. But maybe batteries is not the best example. But the point is if you got something Google searched, that's where you want to be. In or on your body, super niche driven, expensive, complicated. For your pet, for your baby, people are searching. They're doing their research on this type of stuff. Anyways, we had a product, a great guy. Actually, he just bought out recently by Thrasio, an aggregator. So good for him. And he had a women's beauty product. I shouldn't say women's, maybe men use it too, but it's a foot peel mask. You put it on your feet and makes them soft, soft and supple like milk-fed veal. I don't know, but, nice and soft. And we were able to get him, like most clients, we're able to get him page one exposure within 30 days, almost a guarantee. I'm not going to say I guarantee it. It's never not happened, but we'll get you something on page one. Whether it's an infographic, whether it's a press release, whether it's an article, something. For us, the holy grail, though, is to get that direct to Amazon or Walmart or Shopify link on page one. Now, that's going to take a little bit longer. But for him, we're able to get him 2 direct to Amazon links and a Shopify link within 60 days. Maybe we're going after 7 or 8 different keywords, for example, in that campaign. So for 2 of them, and we were just over the moon happy for them. Again, this is, it's going to depend too on the keywords you're going for. If you're going after a really tough keyword, well, it's obviously going to take longer competition, but with any intelligent SEO strategy, and we do the research beforehand, we're going to start with those longer tails. We're going to get those going first, like you do with most strategies. We're going to monitor those seed or those shorter tail keywords because they'll often start to rise as you rank the longer tails. And we just go from there. And we've had tremendous success. And what we've done is we've just added more SEO. So we're the first company that I know of that's blending this high quality content, SEO optimized, all kinds of it. We're pushing it out there, press releases, blogs, syndication. We're kind of doing it all. And then we're blending that with offsite SEO. backlinking, Web 2.0 stuff, Q&A, all that stuff that just takes time, but it's all linking up and it's all directing to usually, your Amazon listing, or we might split it up to an Amazon Shopify, or in some cases, we might be sending it over to blogs or social media, or mixing up those links and just getting your name out there everywhere. And the cool thing with this is that, it sounds like I'm pitching now, but I'm just trying to explain what we're doing. Not only are we doing content, the typical content, press releases and infographics and articles, we're also able to blend in other things for clients that need it, like micro-influencers. Not everyone needs a micro-influencer. Maybe they got their own program. Great, fine. Social postings. We'll fill your social calendar for 30 days if you want. So we're doing some media outreach too, where we're looking for bloggers or smaller sites, that review sites, things like that. So we have the ability to add even more in. And it's really for brands. If you're brand new to Amazon, probably not the right thing for you. I'd suggest getting established, building a little bit of a base on Amazon first. But once you start cooking with gas, it's time to get that word out. In conjunction with everything you're doing on site Amazon, make sure your listing is good. You got your PPC going. You might have Amazon Lives. You might have posts. Great, wonderful. Let's start adding in that other stuff. Let's start getting some outside traffic and helping your organic rankings as well. It's all very holistic, what we're doing. We're just trying, we're not, betting everything on one horse. We're trying to get everything going holistically and look very organic, because we don't want to get penalized by Google. We want to stick around for a long time. One last thing I'll say here before I get off the soapbox is advertising, great. You can do native advertising. You can do all kinds of great stuff. You turn off the money funnel, that goes away. You turn off what content, if you're putting out great quality posts, if you're doing all these things, or blog articles, whatever you're doing, that stuff can stick around for ages, years in some cases. And it's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving, and it's such a worthwhile investment. But you got to have that long-term vision. If you're just thinking about tomorrow, just focus on those tactics, and you live and die on that sword.
Yeah, even for for our podcast, there's this. We try to put out high quality content. We have guest blogs that are high quality content, and we don't do it every day. If I could, I would. But instead of just putting out a whole bunch of okay quality, we'd prefer to put out one or two high quality blogs a week. And sometimes it's one a week, but you have to be consistent. If you don't think you can do it, then do it once a month. If you don't think you can do that, do it once a quarter. But you have to be consistent. It's exactly like you said. If you don't, Google or the algorithm is just not going to take you seriously, and you will drop like a stone. Just like if you turn off your PPC or pause your PPC in Amazon. The other thing I can tell you is that, and I want to make this really clear to people, if you're looking at just getting some authority, you can do a press release, but you can do a very high-end press release. By that, I mean, a $750 to $1,500 press release. And you can get into some really great media channels, and you'll get some really great exposure once, and it'll probably stick around for a bit. The issue is if you're trying to, let's say, promote your Amazon products, you want to do that on a much more common basis, much more recurring basis. If you're looking at targeting, if you're trying to target certain keywords, and you might coordinate that around a product launch where you might be dropping the price or something around your listing to help either, or maybe influencers. But again, it's the old Mike McClary traffic blitz. And, those are things that I would recommend. And going back to your brand builder, Shane, is that this isn't a one and done. No. And we've said that about press releases. We've said it about content building. If you're building content, do it regularly. If you do something like this, Shane's, content or brand builder, it's not a one and done. But the wild thing was with George, he did it once and he got crazy results, which I always love bringing up that case study. Now, I do want to tell everybody too, that as much as I love brand builder, I use brand builder, this is Shane's baby. I'm also part and parcel of that. We didn't expect this to be like a pitch. When I tell you I have affiliate links, I have very, 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 very few, and it's only when vendors can't give me anything except affiliate links, but we give you the best price. This is a little bit different because it is one of my companies that I co-own with Shane. So if you are interested in this, make sure you check it out with Shane. Make sure it's the right thing for you. If you're a listener with Lunch with Norm, I didn't even talk to you about this. Maybe we can give a really great discount for the Netfluence that we haven't even. I think the website might have launched last week. Did it?
Yeah, it's up. There's some information there.
But there's
not
nothing
quite complete yet.
Yeah.
Well, it's there. You get a general idea, but it's not quite optimized, and some things might not be quite right yet. But by next week, I don't know when this will air, but it might be ready by then. I'm sure it will be, actually.
Right. So if there's a discount code, we'll figure it out. We'll make sure that Kelsey puts it in the show notes, and we'll have it, because this is pre-recorded. We don't know if it's going to air on Monday or 3 or 4 weeks from now. Mm-hmm. So anyways,
Norm, one thing I want to mention about content is, and I know that you love a blog, that you read a blog. It's like, 5 ways to do this, or, whatever it is, but damn, is that a good blog? Not only is it optimized and the headers look good, and it's just great information that people actually want and will use. And I think you've mentioned before in the past, talking about like Neil Patel. If you're not going to produce a blog that's as good or better than your competitors, then don't do it at all. And that's when, hey, you know what? It's quality over quantity. There is another side to that coin. And some people want to just flood the market with content. That can work too. Mm-hmm. Some people might want 10 blogs, 100 blogs, 200 blogs a month. It might sound crazy, but people do it. You're not going to put out 200 blogs a month. They're literally the best blogs on the internet. That's not the point of those, but those will rank. They'll start getting out there, and you will flood the internet, and you'll start getting some of, obviously you're not going to get all 200 ranking. You could, you're not going to fill up page 1 with every one of your blogs, but that's another technique as well. Now, those aren't crap. They're not garbage. They're not just keyword stuffed, coming straight out of an article spinner or something like that. They're still quality, but they're not the best on the internet. But that's not their point. Kind of like when we talk about trying to rank your Amazon product using press releases. We're not going to put out, $10, $15, $20,000 press releases in a month. Oh my gosh, that's a ridiculous amount of money. We're going to use those cheaper press releases and blast it. And it's not about the message in the press release, it's about the SEO side. So there are 2 components, and you can blend them both together. You can do one premier press release and have all the best links and backlink to authority sites and do that stuff, and have the lower ones link to other blogs, to social media, to your whatever you got going on. So I just want to be clear about that. There's sort of more than one way to skin a cat, as the expression goes.
Oh yeah, you can talk forever on content and doing it right. You mentioned Neil Patel. Check out Neil Patel's website. It's full of high quality content. In fact, you want to talk about content and how much it's worth? Go to Dr. Axe, Dr. AXE. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Okay. So Dr. Axe, for those who don't know, was a content-driven website, and all they did was produce high-end content. And Kelsey, what was you remember when, I'm not sure if it was Steve Wiedemann that came on, but one of the SEO gurus we had on, what website did they say go to and just check out what they're doing? Do you remember that?
There's a couple of brands. I can try and look at the resources and see what they said.
Yeah, and then just put it into the comments section. But that gives you an idea. You could go to Lunch with Norm too. But it takes time, it takes money. If you just give it to anybody, you'll be sorry. You're not going to get the same results. So I think that's about it for the whole thing about the Dr. Axe. If I'm not mistaken, it was a content-driven website that sold for, I believe it was $4.4 billion. Content
It's just ridiculous. It's just
driven.
ridiculous. Yeah.
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 So anyways, it's just important that you build up the content, and the content will show that you have authority. The authority will show that you have trust, or will build trust, and that will build sales. So that's what we tried to bring out in today's podcast. And Shane, people want to get a hold of you. How do they do it?
They can message me, Shane at netfluence.co. So that's
We even got the emails going for it now.
Yeah, NETFLUENCE. Yeah,
God,
like influence, but Netfluence, you know.
So you can't even spell the name. That tells me something.
Well, I did spell the name. I just wanted to be sure.
Okay. How many letters in Netfluence?
I think there'd be nine.
See, one. This is a little known thing
Or
about
10.
Shane.
10.
And that's the first I stumped you if you can't figure that one out.
Well, so here's the thing. It's got to be a common word. It's got to be in our lexicon.
One of the things that Shane does all the time is he counts letters. If I were to say, I don't know, industry.
That's 8.
So
8
he
letters.
just constantly is like, you could give him a word. Now you're going to go out, you're going to go into an event, and people are just going to give you words. But anyways, that's a little strange hobby of yours.
Yeah, I never stop counting. It's weird. Even as we're talking, like I've counted lunch with Norm so many times. I mean, it's 13 letters, but it's just, yeah.
That's funny. All right, sir. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast today. Kelsey will be doing the Wheel of Kelsey in a second. It's going to be a little bit different because it's pre-recorded. And I think that's it. Kelsey, are you running a sponsor now or later? As you know, at Lunch with Norm, bigger is always better. Bigger business, bigger profits, and yes, bigger lunches. Z wants to make sure that your business and profits are bigger by taking you and your business international. They are a one-stop importer of record shop, including compliance and logistics services. They focus on all the elements involved in a smooth first-time custom clearance so that you can focus on what you're good at, selling. Click on the screen now or follow the link in the description box below and get 50% off your first shipment today. Okay. So once again, sir, just appreciate you, coming on. I know it was a last minute thing, but I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. It's great. Anytime, man. I'll love to.
All right. We will see you later, Shane.
Yep, take care.
Yep. Okay, everybody.
All right. Hello, everyone. It's me, Kelsey. I'm going to jump on here and do the Wheel of Kelsey. So thank you, everyone who has entered during this live. I know this is a pre-recorded episode, but we will be back to our live episodes very shortly. It's just been kind of a crazy week with Norm currently in France. So anyways, let's do the Wheel of Kelsey. We'll keep you updated with those pre-recorded episodes. We're trying to figure out what's the absolute best way to do this and handle this. So let us know if there's any questions, concerns. Yeah, we'll let you know. Anyways, it is time for the Wheel of Kelsey. Thank you, everyone who entered, and we'll go ahead and spin this.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right, so hopefully I'm not tripping out too many people and confusing what's going on right now. But anyways, thank you everyone who participated. This is the very, very live Wheel of Kelsey, and it's good seeing everyone. I think I see some more names getting entered here. So if you are the winner, please email k@lunchwithnorm.com. I just want to make sure I've got everyone in here. It looks like it. All right, so here we go. Nathan, you didn't actually enter. So let's do this. I'm going to shuffle these up. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and the winner of the Wheel of Kelsey is Claudia. Congratulations, Claudia. Claudia, you can reach out to me, send me an email, k@lunchwithnorm.com, and yeah, we'll set you up with your fantastic giveaway from Shane Oglow, and yeah, it'll be very useful, and enjoy. So we're going to return back to the end of the episode. There are still a few things that we're going to be talking about, so stay tuned. Very big, if you haven't seen in the comment sections, I've been posting about the Mexico sourcing trip. So we're going to touch on that a little bit. There's a great opportunity for someone to get $3,500 off their trip to Mexico. So stick around, stay tuned to the end of the episode, and we'll be back to the action. Enjoy, everyone.
So just wanted to, hopefully you enjoyed today's show. It's a little bit different. We're still trying to get the format down for these pre-records. But anyways, just let us know what you think about them. If there's any thing that you liked, well, let's put it good, bad, or ugly. Just let us know. We're always willing and trying to improve anything we do with Lunch with Norm. And let's bring back the boy wonder.
All right. Yes. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And again, if there's any questions or comments, we'll be checking that live or afterwards. I'm actually watching this recording as we're streaming live. As you're watching right now, I'll probably be coming on and saying something else. But yeah, thank you, everyone, for coming on. We really appreciate it. And if you are interested in joining our community, go over to our Facebook group, Lunch with Norm, Amazon, FBA, and eCommerce Collective. We're doing a whole bunch of fun stuff over there. We've got a great Mexico trip scholarship too, which if this airs before or after or next week, which is May, the first week of May, you can win up or receive up to $3,500 off the Mexico trip, the Sourcing Mexico trip. So there's going to be comments.
You know what, Kelsey, this is crazy. Like, we're doing this for Lunch with Norm. So like, we decided that we would pick up one of these, and I mean, it's expensive, right? It's very expensive. Well, not really expensive. Actually, I don't want to go off on tantrum here, but I'm going to an event right now, and this is why we're doing this, but it's a very, very expensive event, and it's for a few days. Okay. And I don't want to make this sound, it's well over 15,000. Okay. It's just for a few days. Anyways, the reason I'm saying this is that this Mexico trip goes from the June 4th until the 12th. You've got everything included, like 5-star hotel, all your food, everything in the Mexico, like the World Trade Center, sourcing trips that are going into Mexico, then going over to Cancun, staying at the Moon Palace, having some of the top, not only Amazon speakers, but people from Mexico talking about sourcing, talking about logistics, talking about how to all the ins and outs. And the bloody thing, everything included, is around $8,000. Now, it's cheaper if you only want to go to Cancun or to the World Trade Center. There's different prices. But if you decide that you want to do both, we're providing, Lunch with Norm is providing one $3,500 scholarship. But we have had one sponsor who came up and said, look, we'll do one step better than that. And they decided that they were going to give up to 20 sponsors, up to, they basically donated $70,000 to us.
Wow.
Yeah. And anyways, I just want to say that because it's crazy, and the networking that'll happen, and just the understanding and the knowledge that'll come out of that, whether you get the scholarship or not, it's just what I think is going to be fantastic. And on top of that, Alibaba is going to be one of our sponsors. It's completely, all the sponsorship is already sold out, but Alibaba is the big one. So everybody's saying, oh, Alibaba doesn't do anything over in Mexico. Well, check it out, because surprisingly enough, they do. It's not just China.
All right. So if you are interested, there's two things, whatever's easier. You can email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com, or I'll be posting a Google Forms list, or a Google form in the comment section. So just throw that in, throw in your information. You'll have to put your name, your email, and then basically just ways to contact you. And then if you don't end up winning this $3,500 off, I can always send you more information about what Norm mentioned with the other scholarships that might be available. So definitely sign up. This is for people that are seriously considering the Mexico trip. We don't want this to go to someone that doesn't go, because there's people that do really want to go to Mexico, but they just can't afford it right now. So hopefully, you're able to come along with us. I'll be there. Norm will be there. Amy Wees, Tim Jordan. We've got a huge list of speakers, so it's going to be fun.
Okay, so you can join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Like I said, if you have any good, bad, or ugly suggestions, if they're ugly, make sure Kelsey gets them. Just, let us know. These pre-records, we want to make them right for you. And anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. Shane's always cool when we get on. It's just, I couldn't believe over an hour went by the time we finish this up. I thought it'd be about 45 minutes. So thanks again for watching. Thanks again for being part of the community. And I don't know what time this is going to air, but enjoy the day. I think that would be an appropriate way to sign off.
Entrepreneur.